Hello and welcome to Mayhem with your host, May May.
All right, so my podcast this week's called Path to Calm because I think that this week is the first week in a very long time where I have actually been able to sit at home and not worry about anything and not worry about projects that are going on, not worry about work. I've been actually able to sit down at home and just sit there. And it's such a strong thing. It's such a strong feeling that Tisa has looked at me and she's been like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "Nothing." She said, "There's something wrong. You feel funny." And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, it's this fact that I'm unburdened and I feel better than I have for a very, very long time. I think I feel better than I have ever, ever felt, which is weird. But to be able to put down all my burdens and all my things that are on my mind constantly, if I'm going to be quite honest and quite frank with you, I'm worried that either I'm getting healthier and I'm finally getting in a better headspace, or my mental illness has struck me with depression again. Um, I don't know what it is, but all I know is that at nighttime when I come home and I'm able to leave work at work and I'm able to just be able to put my phone down and watch a show with my family or just sit there and be present in the moment is beautiful. And so I was thinking about some of the reasons why maybe that happened, and one of the reasons is because I have been putting off a very big project for a very long time. It's also a project that I'm not going to get paid for. I didn't want to do it. And so I just put it off and I put it off and I put it off. And so finally one day I sat down and I did it. You know what? It took me a few hours and it's fine. And I finished it. And that's when it all started. That's when it's like, okay, I'm going to put this down and not worry about it. And I think another thing is that Tisa and I got into an argument because we have all these projects and we talk a big talk and we say a lot of things and we never follow through. And so we talked about following through and maybe finishing things. And for the past week and a half or so, we have been. We have been genuinely keeping up with our what we say, and we have been following the rules that we put down for ourselves, and it has had this calming effect on me that I'm not going to worry about not following our plans anymore because we're going to do them, and I know that we're going to do them. And I think a lot of times people talk a big game. I know I do. And there's no follow through. And so if there's no follow through, if you can't have action behind your plans, then nothing's ever going to get done and you're not going to finish things. The other time that I felt at peace is after you make a big decision. When my last marriage, when I was trying to decide if I wanted a divorce or not, I was waffling for months over, am I going to stay? Am I going to go? What am I going to do? How is this going to work? And then one day I sat down in the car and I'm like, I just have to make a decision, because the longer I don't make this decision, the longer this is going to plague me and this is going to be on my mind, and the farther away from peace of mind I'm going to be. And so I had to be like, okay, what do I want? What do I really genuinely want? And I decided that I wanted a divorce. And once I made that decision, that relief was almost as big as the relief I got finishing that big project. It was huge. Recently, since I've been getting up early in the morning, I've been writing down little things that come to me when I'm writing in the morning, and I've been sharing them on Facebook, just as little poems or just little status updates or whatever. And I wrote one on Monday that I wanted to share because I feel like the more I share it, the more I talk about it, the more I think about it. maybe the closer I'll be to actually accomplishing it. And so this week, there's 3 things that I want to do. My intentions for this week. I want to accept criticism and not let it undo me, because I always do that. Somebody says something bad to me or something that I did bad, and you never intend to do anything bad, but you let it completely undo you and completely break you apart. And that's not the intention of the criticism at the start. The criticism is to say, okay, maybe you need to veer off in a different direction here. And so I want to be able to accept criticism and not let it undo me. I want to begin with my attitude and make it good. I want to have a good week. And the only way to be able to have a good week is to begin with myself. And the one thing that I can control is my attitude. And one of the things that I've been struggling with, that I've been trying to find a moment before I get angry, trying to find a moment before I get anxious, trying to recognize the signs that I'm going to have these big emotions, in order to take a moment to poke at the emotions before they actually happen, to be like, okay, why am I feeling this big emotion? What is going on? How can I stop it? And Tesis and Sindel have both been really good at helping me. Like when I get super anxious, I start moving my leg, and then they start picking up on my energy, and they stop me. Whatever I'm doing, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, they stop me. And they put their arms around me and they squeeze. And that one simple moment gives me enough space from the anxiety, from the moment, from the feeling, to help calm me down. And so I want to try to not avoid those feelings, because they're real and they're not to be avoided, but I want to learn how to give them the space that they deserve. And in order to do that, I need to start working on my attitude and having a good attitude and a better, more positive attitude. And instead of looking things and being like, oh my gosh, that's so silly, look at things and being like, oh, that's inventive, or that's something different. Let's try that. And the third thing is that I want to live the intentions that I set before me. So some of the things that I've already talked about giving myself space for my emotions, about learning how to deal with my anger, the big Irish man that it is. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about this week is I don't know. Don't let things fester. Don't let things cloud your intentions. Be clear with yourself. And if you start feeling cloudy, then you need to figure out why you're feeling cloudy. Oftentimes when I don't understand something, I feel like I'm walking through fog. I felt like that for years when it came to taxes. I didn't understand them. And then when I did understand them, it's like the fog cleared, and all of a sudden I could see clearly, and I could see the lines, the one thing connects to the other, that connects to the other. And when you can finally clear out the fog and see things, it changes your whole perspective on everything that you do. So being able to look at your intentions and see them clearly and not let that fog get in your way, I think that's really important, and I think that's something that is worth working on every day. That's what I do in the morning when I get up early. So the book that I wanted to talk about this week is by a man named Daniel O'Malley. He's also kind of a man that I'm a little upset at, because it's been like 3 years since he's come up with the third in the trilogy, and I don't know what it is about the third in the trilogy, but both Daniel O'Malley and Daniel Price have a third book that they have promised that's not coming out very quickly, and for a voracious reader like myself, it drives me bonkers. But the book that I wanted to talk about this week is called The Rook, and it's about a super secret British organization that faces off against the supernatural, kind of like Torchwood. So the main character, it starts with the main character getting a letter saying, you don't know who you are, but this is who you are. And then it gives her a choice. It says, well, here's money, and here's a plan, and here's a new identity. You can go this direction. But if you choose, if you want to, you can go back into your old life, full of danger, full of intrigue, full of all these things, and you can see what you can make of it. Because I don't know what happens to her personality, but all of a sudden it's gone. And so she has to relearn all of these things about herself and about her old life and about, make all the connections that she kind of grew up with. And it's really a unique position to be in, because you can take the easy route or you can take the hard route. And if you take the hard route, you can either do it kicking and screaming, or you can do it with a good attitude and be calm the whole time. And even though she faces some pretty crazy stuff in this book, what struck me about this character in particular, and even in the second book when she's not the main character, what struck me about her is how calm she is and how she takes everything one step at a time, and she doesn't let anything frazzle her. And I think that's a really beautiful way to be. Maybe not healthy all the time, but it's kind of beautiful. So, I just wanted to tell you guys that, I didn't think that it was possible to be able to sit there and watch a TV show, or sit there and be able to be calm and be present in the moment. Because I've always had such a hard time with that, because my mind goes a mile a minute. But now that I'm there, and now that I've done it, 3 or 4 nights out of the past 7 where I've just been calm. And it's been beautiful. And I just wanted to let you know that there is hope. And that hope is a thing with feathers, and it might come and kiss you on the cheek someday. So let's find that hope, and let's find that calm, and let's move on. Thank you so much for listening, and have a good night.